So, Business Northeast is here today with Mr. Rajeev Gupta, who is the chairman for the Indo-Japan Business Council in the northeastern region of India. As you all know, like Japan is kind of the core investors of northeastern region since since ages, I will say. And Business Northeast is here with him to know more about what's the business scenario and what are the implications of all the collaborations we have made so far. So let's welcome Mr. Rajeev Gupta. Welcome to Business Northeast, sir.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Firstly, we would like to know about the recent visit of the Japan delegation to Assam. What was the outcome of that, and any plans they have shared, any progress rates of any of the projects that they have planned with Assam?
Okay, so the recent delegation that came to Assam from approximately the 3rd of May till the 5th of May was a very high level delegation led by the Speaker of the Japan Diet. It also had over, I think, 30 businessmen in various capacities. And of course, at this stage, it was more of an exploratory visit to understand the ecosystem here, the infrastructure, and also what can be done here with respect to investment from Japan. The speaker of the Japanese Diet obviously is from the political side, and the businessmen with him had different interests ranging from skill development to medical equipment to semiconductors, etc. So we still have to go forward and see as to how they sort of convert the interest that has been generated into actual reality going forward.
Mr. Gupta, you have been closely working with the Japan delegates as well as the government here. So, what are the challenges the Japan actually is facing here? If you see of the any kind of business activity in our state, if you would like to point out here.
So, one, we all have to understand that the Northeast, in a totality, is a very important part for Japan, both geopolitically as well as from a long term relationship point of view. One of the areas that I personally work with is obviously the development of skills for the youth of this region. Because and to cater to Japan, because Japan today is an aging society and therefore requires a large amount of skilled youth. Japan does realize that India is going to be a big, large next supplier because they have already done this activity over the last 2 decades with Vietnam, Philippines, Indonesia, Nepal now, etc. So India is definitely a big player. Uh, in Northeast is very an area interest that Japan has an interest in because people from this region will assimilate into Japanese society much faster than any other region of mainland India. However, if we look at investment from Japan, in that aspect, we also have to realize that the Japanese take a lot of time in actually committing and signing on the dotted line because they go through a lot of diligent process. And one thing that they definitely require is infrastructure and skilled manpower to assist them. We see these examples in various sort of Japanese parks that have come up. You see the park for automobiles near Chennai. You see the Nimrana park near Gurgaon, which has Japanese industry. You see also the growth that is now happening in Gujarat. Well, all these people have first, all the states have developed reasonable, solid infrastructure and also have given an impetus on having good quality human manpower, or what I would say, people that can work with Japanese companies. So we have to create all that ecosystem before we really can have tangible investments from Japan.
So, Japan was supposed to set up an industry, like skilling industry, near the semiconductor factory here. That's in Jagiellon. So, do you know any status of that? And actually have they started anything sort of that here on remote basis?
So I don't have any updated information with respect to skilling industry, but definitely yes. I think IIT Guwahati has already launched multiple courses which will skill manpower for the semiconductor industry. So the semiconductor industry is not directly related to Japan. Obviously, we all know that it's being set up by the Tatas. Uh, what my understanding is that Tokyo Electron, which is a large semiconductor company out of Japan, is one of the major players with or major participants with the Tatas. There is obviously a need to get Japanese and other ancillary units to take care of the complete semiconductor ecosystem, for which again trained manpower will be required. How much of it is required with respect to bilingual skills? I don't have that information with respect to the industry, but I know that with respect to semiconductor working and things, the IIT and other NELIT, etc., are getting into some training mode and having some courses.
We recently had the Advantage Assam 2.0 summit here, and right after that, we itself organized one business summit here in our own, by our own media house. So summits like that, where we have those countries, you know, committing to collaborate with our region. How long it takes to turn it into kind of investment, turn it into the final thing.
I think if we are referring to Japan in particular, it's going to take a reasonable amount of time from my past experience. Some things could happen fast.
Would you like to point out why? Like, what are the challenges in
So
between these?
as I said earlier, we have to create an ecosystem. You know, one thing that is well known that Japan plunges where there is infrastructure and there is also where there is manpower available. Both of these factors are currently being processed or being developed here. So we definitely have to create an ecosystem for Japanese SMEs to actually come here. The large companies or large corporations can come because they have their own bandwidth, their own infrastructure, and their own momentum to actually come here. You know, but we are not looking at all the Mitsubishis and Panasonics to be here. We are looking at small and medium enterprises who've actually never been so much into the global arena, and if they have to be brought out of Japan, they have to have a comfort zone, some level of comfort zone. So therefore, building the infrastructure and ecosystem will be an important part.
But do you really think the startups here of this region can compete with the startups from there, the technologies, the manpower they have? Can they reach that level? What do you think of our ecosystem here?
No, the startup ecosystem is a total different ecosystem. I think we've got some wonderful startups here who can have a market base in Japan, but again, it's something that they have to expose themselves to that country. Japan today is not a very large consuming market in terms of high-end products, but definitely it is the still continues to be the third largest economy of the world, and therefore I would say that the startups here can can have a market there. Number one. Number two, Japanese startups can have a market here, so they can be a very good collaboration between both of them.
And what about the exhibitions you have been speaking of earlier with in our conversations? Like, if Japanese, may be a startup, may be any well, their government-related organizations, if they come here and set up their base, like, uh, what will be the outcome of it as a business council? How it will change our scenario here?
You know, there are two, three scenarios that we can definitely change. So one, I said that one of the areas that we and I personally work with is empowering the youth of this region to be skilled in, of course, Japanese language, Japanese ways of doing things, and as I say, becoming Japan ready and going to Japan for work. Please understand that repatriation income is also a very, very strong aspect of how employment, one is that how communities are developed. So each person can make 16 people's lives. And you can imagine that the money that they repatriate, how it's going to affect the livelihood of their own communities, their societies, themselves, of course, while they're living in the first world country. That transformation in 4 or 5 years of somebody going has an immediate effect on the local infrastructure, the development, the housing comes up, roads come up, infrastructure comes up in villages, etc. So this will have a multiplier effect in terms of the Japanese looking at it. Okay, here is an area where there have been 1,000 people who came to our country, worked, and have gone back. They have the finance, they have the language skills, they have the skill sets, they know how to work with Japanese, etc., etc. So that's the whole process of building a great ecosystem, and will have a multiplier effect in years to come. So I think we should have patience, and we should develop the ecosystem rather than asking for too much overnight.
So, as the chairman of this council, uh, are you planning anything of such kind of events with Japan here in any of the state of the northeastern region, or any kind of collaboration, may it remote or something like that? You are planning around.
Yeah, so to make your viewers aware that Japan this year is holding the World Expo. So the World Expo 2025 is being held in Osaka. There are 190 countries approximately participating, with 30 major country pavilions. And I would really actually urge the business community and any other communities to actually go to Japan this year, not just as pure tourists, but yes, a few days of tourist activity will obviously be filled in. But as a council, we would like to facilitate this whole process of taking you to Japan, showing you Japan from a business sense, setting up B2B meetings, and giving you an exposure, or giving the community, business community, or any entrepreneurs or startups, etc., whatever you may call, an exposure to that country specific to your needs, apart from having a look at what the country is about. I think this first level exposure is very, very important to get the gray cells thinking. I would say, just bringing Japanese here and having an interacting activity is one set of the things, but it does not give the people here the exposure of Japan. So I think a Japan exposure is very important.
And what's your view on the overall business scenario of India and Japan? Because you have been closely working with both the governments, and you might be experienced, and of course, uh, like how businesses are working here in our country, and how they are working. So, what set of expertise are missing? Where are the challenges? Where we are lagging behind, or where we are advanced when compared to Japan?
Well, Japan has taken a long time to come to where it's come. We all know that what was the state at the end of World War II, with both Hiroshima and Nagasaki being bombed. There is a different work culture. So one is definitely the work culture that we lack. One is definitely the team spirit that the Japanese work with, and of course also there is different various ways of working that we are very different from how the Japanese work. However, said that, Japan is a major partner for business for India today. The automobile sector is nearly fully Japanese. There are multiple large projects. If you look at the Northeast, the major investments are from Japan. We will soon have the Dhubri Fulbari Bridge, which is really going to change the whole dynamics of how transportation is done, logistics, etc. So I think from a government level, there is a lot of investment coming in. JICA is doing a lot of road networks, forestry, and multiple other projects that they are doing at every state level of the Northeast. I think getting private enterprises to enter, uh, there is still lots of challenges, both from our side and the Japan side. Assam is today clear, and there is generally no travel advisory towards Assam. So, therefore, we are hopeful that there would be investments and there would be companies coming in the near future.
Anything more you would like to point out in terms of economy and business here that we should work on it? If we do not compare with Japan, with another country, what we should work? What are the sectors which are currently on trend? Right after Advantage Assam, there are sectors that has been highlighted by our honorable CM sir.
So I think obviously the honorable CM sir and his team and everybody has taken the whole Advantage Assam, at least the event, to a great world class stage, I would say, or world class event was actually created. I think a lot of people have been sort of envisaged great interest in investments, both domestically and internationally. We have to really see how all that translates into real business. And well, as a council which is focused on Japan, I would say that there is definitely a renewed interest. And but again, as I said, that we will need to look at it with a little bit of a time frame in mind, and an ecosystem development is a very much a necessity. So we just can't expect everything to be happening overnight. While multiple MOUs have happened, while multiple other talks are going on, but I think let's give it time, and I think it'll fluctuate into business.
So again, I would like to take you back to the very first question of mine about their recent visit to Assam, and the places like they have visited Jagirod, Vasavi Conductor Facility, as well as IIT Guwahati. So apart from the brief that you gave us, what are the major takeaways from that visit? Like if being a business media, if you look onto it.
I think the major takeaway is a great exposure that the Japanese got to the region. The hospitality that the Assam government gave them was par excellence. So, they've taken it everything away with a very positive note. There's been a lot of publicity in Japanese media about this visit to Assam, and therefore the state itself has become prominent and is now being looked at by a lot of other people to make a visit. So I think the positive part is that there are many people who have never even thought of visiting the area are now thinking of visiting the area, and obviously they're not just coming as tourists, so they want to explore what are the possibilities of doing
So
business.
it was more of a like tourism kind of exposure to them.
Yeah, no. I think it was a good exposure to them to establish that yes, what potentials do exist, and going back, they have promoted that in a positive frame, in a positive way, in the local Japanese media. So a belief system is coming into place that yes, we should look at Assam. From a tourism point of view, that there was talk of the golf courses, the 26 golf courses. How do we create a golf tourism circuit? How do we create a tea tourism circuit? So all these things have been spoken to about in those conferences which happened with this current delegation, and which has also been published in local Japanese media. So it's suddenly like people have woken up to understand, oh yeah, I think we should go and explore, or whether they come as tourists or whether they come as investors or whether they come on exploratory visits, but at least they'll come. So you'll have some spending happening in the state.
And after this visit, whatever discussions they had, whatever decisions they give, like we can work on this together. So I hope this is going to take a bit of time to work on it here, since you mentioned the challenges we had and everything. So did they mention anything else after that visit, like if they are planning a follow-up visit or something like that?
No, nothing that I am aware of, because it, as I said, that it was led by a politician and then with other businessmen. But yeah, with some of the businessmen, we are also in connection and in discussion with them for some collaborations. So let's see. It will take some time for everything to.
So that's all, Mr. Gupta, that we had to speak with you today. It was great knowing about the recent visit of Japan delegation to Assam and few other questions that we had. So thank you so much for joining today.
Thank you.
Thank you.